Hello everybody. So quick video today. This video is mostly about MSTR, although I'll briefly mention Tesla and Hims at the end of the video. Topic of the video, stairs right back up. We went down a lot on Thursday and some stocks have already recovered everything. Other stocks take the stairs back up. It could take a few days, but the pain did not last forever. And you can't know when it bounces. And sure enough, you were reading X yesterday. It was very grim. People were thinking it was going to be even worse today. That's totally not what happened. Hyper growth, as far as we're concerned on this channel, we invest in the growthier stocks on the market, right? I wouldn't consider Apple a growth stock, for example, but the growthier stocks bounced back hard today. So today was a very nice day to showcase this. Of course, we had Tesla down 4.3% yesterday. Thursday down 4%. Today Tesla was up 4%. So down 4, up 4. Tesla recovered all of its losses from the day prior. Strategy was down 7% yesterday. It recovered 2.78, so 2.8% in after hours. Strategy is up 2.8%. Noteworthy that the pattern of strategy is correlated to Bitcoin, but only loosely correlated to Bitcoin, because strategy dropped a lot yesterday on a day where Bitcoin also dropped a lot. Bitcoin dropped at 3.6. Today, as I record this video, the price of Bitcoin is roughly the same as it was in the open. It's roughly the same price, 109,200. So Bitcoin's flat, if you follow IBIT, right, minus 0.2%, so roughly flat, but strategy is up 2.7%. So strategy is correlated with the price of Bitcoin, but it's not a perfect correlation. Of course, today we have greatly outperformed Bitcoin, but nobody's going to mention that, of course, because it's all about getting the clicks. It's all about the red, the blood, and today was a good day for strategy. It bounced back. A lot of naysayers and a lot of people were predicting a strategy at 270 based on some TA. Well, I don't see it just yet. It could happen if Bitcoin drops. Not that I would care. I'm a long-term investor. Most viewers who watch this channel at this point understand the importance of being a long-term investor and not having, options expiring next week or something like that. I think most people watching my videos understand that. But it's a nice day today. Today's a bounce. I'm happy about the performance of the sector. MSTR remains the blue chip. It remains the behemoth in the sector. That's why you never panic sell. And some people proudly sold everything yesterday and got angry at Sailor and angry at the market. Note a lot of stocks dumped way more from their peak than strategy. Way more than strategy. Strategy is not nearly down as much as, say, a stock like a Metaplanet, for example, or a smarter web company, which are way more down, even some of the miners, right? It's important to zoom out, to zoom back. The bounce is generalized today, though. A DeFi dev, right? A Solana Treasury company, slightly different, but still up nicely. The pattern for the day was clear. Metaplanet, still up nicely for the day. And Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ETF, the Bitcoin Treasury company ETF, OwnB is the ticker. OwnB also bounced back roughly throughout the day. So it was nice. But commenting on fiat movements is really a silly exercise. I do it for the channel, but it's a silly exercise. Here's the truth. Here's my truth and my point that I always make, which is fiat is broken. It's fiat that is broken. The value of MSTR has not changed. The value of MSTR is 668,665 Bitcoin. That's the value of MSTR. That has not changed. That value of MSTR will change on Monday when we probably get another update on Monday, and we probably cross the 669,000 Bitcoin mark. We'll probably cross that on Monday, and then every Monday the value of strategy goes up in Bitcoin terms, and I measure the value of strategy in Bitcoin terms because we know that this is 668,000 out of 21 million, right? So it's a fraction. It's a fraction of a 21 million total. You get what I mean here. And there will never ever be more than 21 million Bitcoin. And so the price of Strategy, I know. A price in dollar, I don't know. I can't tell you the price in dollar of Strategy because I don't know the value of a dollar. I don't know how many dollars there are out there. I have no idea of the value of the dollar. I know that each Bitcoin is 1 out of 21 million. I know the value of Bitcoin. I don't know the value of a dollar. And, ask yourself that same question. Strategy in Bitcoin terms for the past 6 months is up only. The trajectory has been up only in Bitcoin terms for Strategy. Up only. They haven't sold any Bitcoin or anything like that. But in Fiat, it went 237 based on tariff tantrums and tariff fears and tariff outflows. Then it peaked at 455, 456, and now it's at 309. It's been all over the place. I mean, actually, compared to April 2025, we are kind of at a mid-level at 309, and people tend to forget. They only look at the past month or the past 2 months. They should really look, over the past 5 years. And over the past 5 years, the valuation has been very volatile. Strategy has been volatile, up, down, up, down, up, down, as a lot of people remind me in the comment section. But it's been volatile in fiat terms. It has not been volatile in Bitcoin terms. In Bitcoin terms, Strategy has only gone up in value because it's only had more Bitcoin on the balance sheet. By the way, Stretch still trading at 97, holding up. I mean, this is really behaving like a stable coin. I think Saylor unlocked something very special with Stretch. Keep in mind that Stretch, of course, when it reaches $99, that's when he will be ATMing Stretch. And if it doesn't happen soon, say within the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks, he's going to raise the dividend again. You're going to raise the dividend by 100 basis points again. And if you do that, you essentially force it. So there's a forcing function in Stretch, which means that Stretch will be trading at 99 more. And my guess is that when that happens, he will issue a lot of Stretch, and the market will notice because the demand for Stretch was insane. Stretch was the most successful IPO of the year in terms of fundraising. It was the most successful IPO. Strategy, MSTR stock, issued the most successful IPO. Anyways, moving on. One smart comment on my video yesterday. I get a lot of smart comments. I can't read all of the comments, unfortunately. The channel has crossed the 22,000 subscribers mark. I am so sorry I cannot respond to all of the comments anymore. But I read them, and if I read them in full and I roughly agree, I tend to give a like. That's what I do on the channel. This was a really good comment from Paul Narrow. So if you listen to a lot of the macro podcasts, they talk about this a lot in the macro podcast. Lynn Alden style podcasts, like, what is it? The Forest for the Trees is another podcast that's really good in macro. There's a few macro podcasts, Eurodollar University. If you like this kind of, podcast that's a little more macro, sometimes a little out there, you can get some really good takes and really good thought. This was a really, really good thought about why crypto dumped. The reason why crypto dumped is because apparently the Treasury was issuing a lot of obligations, a lot of bonds have been issued, and so a lot of liquidity has been drained from the system. And another way to say this is that crypto is the thing that sells off always first because it's the easiest thing to get rid of. Don't forget, try to transfer funds from a broker to another. You'll see it takes 5 days for the funds to settle. We tend to forget about finality and speed of settlement. When you send money, when you pay for TradFi rails, it takes a while for the money to fully settle. That is not the case in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is instantaneous. Finality is 10 minutes or something. So it's essentially instantaneous. So that means that a lot of the high-risk assets, and especially crypto, which is not on TradFi rails, that's the first thing to sell off when there is liquidity of the system. Liquidity-sensitive assets like crypto are hit the hardest. But this is going to change as now the TGA has a whole bunch of cash, probably anticipating the shutdown and all that sort of stuff. So this commenter hopes that we get back to 200K. This is consistent with what I see everywhere. Now, I don't make price predictions for Bitcoin or any asset, but Bitcoin, in my view, has not peaked at all. I can't tell you if it's going to be 6 months from now or 3 months from now, but it has not peaked at all, in my view. And this was a really good point. So feel free to pause the video and read this comment in full. Thank you, Paul, for this comment. Anyways, this is in line with some of the earlier ideas that I talked about on this channel. Which is always something to think about when we discuss a strategy or when we discuss any Bitcoin treasury company. It's always good to think about that. We have no idea. We have no idea how many dollars are in the system. We absolutely have no idea. Whenever people talk about M2, they always fail to mention that M2 is a rough estimate. And M2 especially is cash sitting in the US banking system. It's cash sitting under the Fed's oversight. But here's the problem. There's more cash abroad, and they're called Eurodollars. There's more dollars abroad. Commercial banks abroad lend in dollars. So they create dollars effectively. And these dollars make their way back to the US through trade over time. But the truth is, because the dollar is kind of this dual currency, which is both a global currency and a within the US currency, the problem is that we really don't know how many dollars there are abroad. And this is the old chart, early days of the channel, maybe first or second video of the channel. I was making this chart. The whole idea of why I want to beat the denominator. Why do I want to get more than 15%? Because, in my view, based on the most obscure academic papers I can read about the Eurodollar system, go watch my old videos on this. To me, if we add M2 and Eurodollar, we are at roughly 15% of growth in the money stock in dollars. Could be worse, could be way worse, could be better. But the thing is, we don't know. We have no idea how many dollars there are out there. But if dollars grow at 15%, that means that the S&P does not even catch up with monetary inflation. Only the NASDAQ perhaps catches up with monetary inflation. And of course, commercial banks, of course, are those who create the most money. Right? Like most of the dollars are created by commercial banks through the traditional lending process, right? But first layer money is also created by the Fed, and of course that was the infamous 60 Minutes interview when the host asks the host asks, so where did you find the money? Where did the money come from? Did you print it? And then with a snarky laugh, it's like, we printed it digitally. Have you seen that clip? You should see that clip. We printed digitally. Right, so that's a magic money computer. You print the money digitally, and this has resurfaced in light of this Bitcoin crash. This has resurfaced on X, Twitter. I don't know if Elon Musk, perhaps Elon Musk was not supposed to say that. I don't really know what's going on. But apparently, not only the Fed has a magic money computer, as Elon Musk calls it. Apparently, there are 14 magic money computers in the federal government that send money out of nothing. This is the same as when the Fed prints digitally to go buy bonds in the open market, right? The US is not the only country doing that, right? Japan does the same thing, and they buy ETFs over there and all that sort of stuff. But it's important to know that yeah, I guess there's 14 entities, places where we just print money, and that gets added to the money stock. The Fed may or may not see it in M2. It's possible that they don't see it in M2. They regulate banks, but where's the money held? And then we have no idea of a Eurodollar system, right? The shadow banks, the gray banks, we have no idea. So we have no idea how many dollars there are out there. How are you supposed to value a stock if you don't know how much money exists in the system? If you just estimate how much money in the system is, how are you supposed to value any company? What is $100? What does $100 mean if you don't know the fraction of the money stock that $100 represents? With Bitcoin, Bitcoin is 1 divided by 21 million. You have 1 of 21 million coins, and there will be no more ever. That's why I think valuing companies based on the Bitcoin they hold is a very, very smart idea, in my view. It's a very, very smart idea. And Saylor is a pioneer for that. And you know, he will be celebrated as a teacher of finance in the future at one point, in my view. You know, that's just me. Anyways, last update, quick update on this channel. We celebrate a few stocks I cover. Hims doing well. So of course, you know, Thursday, why sell everything? Thursday was bad. Hims opened way down on Thursday because I guess they were going to sell everything indiscriminately. That's just how the markets work. And then they realized, oh, wait a minute, there's a few good news for Hims. You know, the male testosterone offering appears to be doing well, you know, based on what I read, and they're going to launch hers. So hers is going to be a big deal. They're going to launch hers, the menopause treatment. They're going to launch that. That's going to be a big deal. Women much more likely to get menopause addressed than men andropause. So that, I think that will be the bigger market. So, and Hims is a marketing machine, and this were pictures of a photo shoot that they did. So that's going to be a nice deal. I think the reason why Hims was down quite a bit today is the news that was dropped overnight. And a lot of the media outlets tried to make a big fuss out of this. Apparently, kitchen cabinets apparently have a new special tariff. Whatever. It seems like the market is not reacting to tariff news anymore. But this 100% tariff on branded and patented pharmaceutic, unless there is a currently in place manufacturing plant in America, this tariff thing appears to be a nothing burger for the sector, and generics are not impacted anyways, so Hims would not be impacted because they manufacture most of their generics in the United States, perhaps with outside ingredient. But this turns out to not be too meaningful, right? From a business standpoint, not too meaningful. So the market reacting on all of the pharma stocks positively, and Hims particularly, and so it's good to see that you know, Tesla is doing well, Hims is doing well, MSTR not doing too well, but that's because of Bitcoin, and I'm not going to judge MSTR on the last 3 months performance. I'm judging MSTR on the 5-year chart, on the 5-year performance, and I couldn't be more happy with that performance, right? We're still at more than 20x, still at more than a 20x on MSTR. So anyways, this was not investment advice, not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you are entertained, perhaps edutained, but entertained. That's what I do. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.